For most people, becoming king is the ultimate dream of power and glory. For Charles, the crown has often felt more like a prison. From childhood, every step he took was dictated by tradition and expectation. There was no freedom to choose his career, his friends, or even the woman he loved. The crown, with all its jewels and grandeur, also carried invisible chains that bound him to duty. Unlike ordinary citizens, Charles could never walk unnoticed through a street, never make a mistake without headlines, never live simply. As king, this burden grew heavier. Every word he speaks is dissected, every gesture judged. The crown gave him authority, but at the price of privacy, spontaneity, and freedom. For Charles, life has never been his own. It has always been in service to something greater, yet merciless in its demands. Despite being surrounded by advisors, guards, and family, Charles has lived much of his life in solitude. Even in his youth, he was described as withdrawn, often walking alone through the gardens of royal estates. As king, the loneliness only deepens. Few can truly understand the weight he carries, and fewer still can speak to him as an equal. His public role demands endless handshakes, smiles, and speeches, but behind closed doors he is often isolated. The monarchy, by its very design, creates distance between ruler and ruled, father and son, husband and wife. For Charles, this solitude has been both a curse and a source of reflection. It gave him time to think deeply about the environment and humanity's future, but it also magnified his insecurities and fears. Power can command nations, but it cannot guarantee intimacy or genuine companionship. Charles's life has been defined by sacrifice, particularly of personal happiness. His marriage to Diana, while celebrated as a fairy tale, was a compromise between love and duty. Camilla was always the woman he truly loved, yet tradition and expectation forced him to take another path. That choice led to decades of scandal, heartbreak, and public humiliation. Even after finally marrying Camilla, the scars remained, a reminder that in the monarchy, love is rarely free. His personal desires were often set aside for the image of the crown. The irony of his story is that the man with the world's most visible position had to hide his heart for so long. In choosing duty over happiness, Charles lived what many monarchs before him endured, the painful reality that the crown does not care for individual dreams. No matter how many years pass, Charles remains tied to the legacy of Princess Diana. For many, she was the people's princess, beloved for her warmth and compassion, while Charles was cast as the cold, unfeeling husband. Diana's tragic death only cemented this narrative, leaving Charles in a permanent shadow. Every public appearance with Camilla was compared to the fairy tale image of Diana, every attempt to move forward haunted by the past. For Charles, Diana's memory has been both a source of guilt and an obstacle. He could never fully escape the public's judgment, nor undo the mistakes of a marriage that was doomed from the start. Her story is interwoven with his, a reminder that behind the crown lies a personal life often sacrificed at the altar of monarchy. Few figures in modern history have endured as much criticism as Charles. From the tabloids of the 1980s to the unforgiving lens of social media today, his life has been scrutinized relentlessly. Every facial expression is dissected, every word interpreted, every gesture magnified. He has been mocked as aloof, condemned as unfaithful, and doubted as unfit for the throne. Unlike his mother, who seemed untouchable, Charles has always been seen as vulnerable, more human, but also more flawed. The burden of public opinion weighs heavily, shaping his reign before it even began. It is not enough for Charles to be king, he must also win over a public that has judged him for decades. This constant battle with perception reveals the paradox of monarchy. The crown is both a shield of authority and a spotlight that burns. Charles's role as a father has never been free from the demands of monarchy. With William, the heir, he carried the responsibility of shaping the future of the crown, ensuring his son was prepared for the throne. With Harry, he faced heartbreak as his younger son rebelled against royal expectations and chose a different path. The public rift between father and son became global news, reducing private pain into public drama. Charles has often been portrayed as distant, but those close to him describe a man torn between duty and love. He longs for reconciliation yet struggles to balance it with his role as king. His fatherhood, like his reign, is judged harshly, leaving him vulnerable to criticism no matter what choice he makes. For Charles, the crown has always competed with his role as a parent. Perhaps no figure symbolizes Charles's struggle more than Camilla, the woman once despised by the public and now queen consort. Their relationship, once hidden and scandalous, has evolved into a partnership central to the monarchy. For Charles, Camilla represents stability, companionship, and unwavering support, yet even today, some remain unwilling to accept her, seeing Diana as the true queen in their hearts. The journey of Camilla from the other woman to royal consort reflects not just personal redemption but also Charles's determination to define his own happiness. Their love story, though unconventional, has endured storms of criticism and emerged resilient. But with every step forward, the memory of the past lingers. In Camilla's acceptance, Charles finds both personal vindication and the reminder of how long it took for his private life to align with his public role. Long before climate change became a global concern, Charles was speaking about it. For decades, he warned about the dangers of pollution, deforestation, and unsustainable farming. He promoted organic agriculture when it was mocked, championed conservation when it was ignored. Many dismissed him as SEC-centric, even meddling. But history has proven him right. Today, as the world confronts environmental crises, Charles's early advocacy stands as one of his greatest strengths. Yet this passion also posed risks. Monarchs are expected to remain neutral, not activists. Now, as king, he must balance his convictions with his duty to stay impartial. His voice, once dismissed, is now urgently relevant. But the question remains, can Charles remain silent when silence feels like betrayal of everything he has fought for? No heir in history has waited longer for the crown. For over 7 decades, Charles lived in the shadow of his mother's throne. This wait, while preparing him for kingship, also shaped his personality. Patience became both his strength and his curse. He watched generations change, endured scandals, and lived through endless speculation about whether he would ever become king. The weight of waiting created resilience, but it also instilled insecurity. By the time he finally ascended the throne, Charles was already in his 70s, an age when most retire, not begin. His long wait was not a path of glory but of endurance, filled with sacrifices that few could comprehend. The crown, when it came, was both fulfillment and irony. The prize arrived just as time began running out. Charles faces a question no monarch can ignore. Does the crown still matter? In an age of democracy, equality, and social media, the monarchy can seem archaic, even irrelevant. Critics see it as a relic of privilege and colonialism. Supporters argue it provides stability, tradition, and cultural identity. As king, Charles must prove that the monarchy can adapt to modern times. He has embraced the IDEAOF, slimmed-down monarchy, reducing extravagance and focusing on relevance. Yet they cannot please everyone. To reform too much risks destroying the magic of the crown. To change too little risks alienating new generations. This tension defines his reign, walking the razor's edge between history and progress, tradition and transformation. Royal pageantry is dazzling to the world, but for Charles, the wait is literal and symbolic. The crown, robes, and rituals are no only traditions, they are burdens. At his coronation, the imperial state crown sat heavily on his head, a reminder of the immense responsibility he now bore. The ceremonies, rich with history, also highlighted the pressure of continuity. Charles was not just an individual but a link in an unbroken chain stretching back centuries. While the grandeur impressed millions, for Charles it was also a test of endurance, physically demanding, emotionally draining, and spiritually profound. Every tradition he upholds carries the question, does this ritual inspire loyalty, or does it alienate a modern audience? The robes may glitter, but they weigh heavily on his shoulders. The monarchy has always been tied to media, but Charles reigns in an era where headlines are instant and merciless. Every cough, every glance, every family interaction becomes fodder for tabloids and viral clips. Unlike Elizabeth, who maintained mystique, Charles's life has already been lived under the glare of cameras. His scandals, divorces, and controversies are etched permanently in the public memory. As king, he cannot escape them. They resurface in every news cycle, every documentary, every online debate. The media demands perfection yet thrives on scandal. For Charles, This is the paradox. The same cameras that celebrate his coronation are the ones that never let him forget his flaws. He's not just a monarch, he is a perpetual headline. As king, Charles is not only a political figure but also supreme governor of the Church of England. His reign carries spiritual as well as constitutional weight. Yet Charles has long expressed admiration for other faiths, often speaking about interfaith dialogue and the importance of religious harmony. This openness reflects the modern, diverse Britain he rules, but it also sparks controversy among traditionalists. His spiritual duty is therefore more complicated than his mother's. He must uphold the Anglican faith while also respecting the religious pluralism of his people. This balancing act highlights his vision of monarchy as not just a Christian institution but a moral compass for a multi-faith nation. It is a noble ideal, but one fraught with risk in a world where religion remains a deeply divisive issue. Charles embodies contradictions. He is both traditionalist and reformer, privileged and victimized, outspoken and cautious. His reign reflects these tensions. Unlike his mother's simplicity, his life has been messy, public, and painfully human, yet perhaps this humanity is his greatest strength. In his flaws, people may see a reflection of themselves, struggling with family, burdened by expectations, longing for acceptance. His contradictions make him less mythic but more real. And in an age that demands authenticity, this may be what saves the monarchy. Still, contradictions can also be weaknesses, leaving him vulnerable to both critics and loyalists. His reign will not be simple. It will be a constant negotiation between his ideals and the realities of kingship. In the end, Charles's reign will be measured not by years but by impact. Will he be remembered as the king who modernized the monarchy, or as a transitional figure who merely held the crown for William? His legacy is still unwritten, shaped by choices he makes each day. But one truth is clear. His story is not just about a man but about an institution struggling to survive in modern times. Behind the crown lies a life of sacrifice, patience, and resilience. For Charles, the crown is both triumph and tragedy, an honor that cost him freedom, love, and peace. His reign may not last as long as Elizabeth's, but its significance may lie in showing that even kings are human, and that humanity itself may be the monarchy's greatest hope for survival.